Hello and welcome to my class. I am Mamta Prasad, a mentor of UGC-NET, and the topic that we are going to deal today is coordination. This is actually said to be the binding force of any management, right? Any sort of management. All the functions of management that we know about actually will fall apart if there is no coordination. आज इस इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक पे हम बात करने वाले हैं और अगर हम नेट को देखें, नेट की रिक्वायरमेंट्स को देखें, तो उसके हिसाब से मैंने जो आज का ये वीडियो में पहला पॉइंट रखा है वो उसके डेफिनेशंस को लेके है. मैं आपको अभी क्या क्या करूँगी ये बताती हूँ कि आज के इस वीडियो में हम लोग सबसे पहले करेंगे डेफिनेशंस. अब आप सोचोगे डेफिनेशन क्यों? डेफिनेशन बिकॉज in the UGC-NET exams, they often give you a few definitions and ask you sometimes to identify the person who propounded those definitions. So, you are getting an idea, no, that you cannot just ignore the definitions. Concept understanding is important, but then these definitions also sometimes become important. So, please keep that in mind. Second thing, what we'll be talking about is concept again. Now, concept with, what this is about, what is it, how important, why. So, we'll be talking about that. And then, the famous 4 principles related to coordination. Yes, we'll do that. And a few additional principles. So, that is the total content of today's short video, of course. Yes. So, let's move on. And I'll start with this particular picture. If you can see, यहाँ पे आप देख रहे हैं सारे इतने सारे लोग हैं, उनको बीच में एक जगह पे पकड़ के रखा गया है. And they are all pulling, they are all using all of their strength and energy to pull apart. Working hard, अगर आप देखा जाए तो individually they are working hard, but then ultimately what will happen? They lead to nowhere. Together but nowhere, right? Exactly. क्योंकि इनकी दिशा एक नहीं है. और जब आप किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम करते हैं तो आप सब सिर्फ एक पर्पस के लिए काम, चाहे आप जो भी करते हो, बट अल्टीमेटली आपका उद्देश्य तो उस कंपनी के ऑब्जेक्टिव को अचीव करना होता है. यस, दैट इज व्हाट वी मीन. And how is that possible? That is only and only possible when there is a proper coordination. I hope you understand coordination. That is when all are put together, they know that they are bounded by a particular, rules, set of things, set of objectives, which will always put them together. Yes, the objective is the binding force actually. तो हम इनके बारे में ही बात करेंगे. जैसे these are our 5 fingers. We all know fingers have a lot of potential, although they look so small comparatively, when we talk of the entire physical structure. So they are small part, but then they all have so much of caliber. But do you think in spite of that, these fingers being so very strong, and without them we cannot imagine of anything to be done. But then do you think these would actually be working the way they are if there was no palm? So palm is the actually coordinating factor that is putting them together, right, to make them work together exactly that way. So let's move on and talk about definition. As I said, definitions are important, so I'll go in to explain the definition a bit. It is an integrating process in an orderly pattern of group effort in an organization. So yes, integrating means something that will put together. So this is, coordination is a process that puts together all the organizational effort, so that when they'll be bonded together, then only they'll move together towards the objective, the common objective, that is the objective of the organization. Mooney and Riley said that coordination is an orderly arrangement of the group effort. So that is then done purposefully. I told you, coordination might be something which will not actually be shown. There is no department which is known as, unlike the functional departments, no, we have a production department, we have an HR department, we have a finance department. Unlike that, coordination is no department as such, coordination can never be seen to be happening in a place. There you will never ever find any department named as coordinating department, but then that is inculcated in all the functional profiles that are being defined, right at the time of planning. It is done right from there, so that the whether people want it or they don't, whether they like it or they don't, whether they are doing it willingly or unwillingly, but they have to be coordinated. Otherwise, you can understand the objective of the organization will never be fulfilled. Yes, so coordination is an orderly arrangement of group efforts. Of course, group is required. Otherwise an individual person would never require a coordination. He or she will be doing it on her own, so no coordination required. Coordination will be required only where there will be a group effort to do something. Now imagine a condition, technically going, think about a condition where a product is to be made by two different departments, and then finally it will be assembled. For example, a nut and a bolt. So there is one particular section that is continuously producing, say, nuts, and the other department that is continuously producing bolts. Okay, we understand that this is how, generally the work are always divided so that it can be done in a proper way. Fine, but suppose there is no coordination in between there. So nuts and bolts ultimately need to be fit together, right? They have to put in together to fit in. So imagine that the measurement of the ribs, the measurement of the ribs of the bolt was different from that of the nuts, because they never talked to each other. No, they never knew. So the specifications were given to them, but suppose there are lots of types of nuts and bolts made, right? So the bolt department this time was making a particular bolt of different measurement, and the nut department did not know about it, so they were producing something else. So ultimately a lot of bolts being made and a lot of nuts being made, but then they both were of different specifications. And today, suppose it was to be supplied to the client, the customer, what you can understand what might have happened. Yes, that was because of the lack of coordination. So coordination is very, very important. Had they both been knowing that right now we are going to start the production of bolts with this particular specification, so the nut should also be of the same specification, there would have never been any problem at all. So coordination is so very important. Charles Worth said coordination is the integration of several parts into an orderly whole. Several parts into a whole. Ultimately they should all know that whatever we are doing is for achievement of the organizational objective, and they should also understand at the same time that whatever others in the other departments or other functions doing, they are also doing it for the sake of achieving the objective of the organization. That means they all are complementary to each other, right? So no one is less, more, or more important or less important. No, everything, even the smallest thing without which things can go wrong, is of equal importance. So they should know how to respect this, and that is how the coordination comes into being, right? So there are basically the concept of coordination says that coordination is the essence of management. Yes, all the functions being done in a proper way, it will all fail just because there was no coordination. So coordination is essential and indispensable for the success of any managerial function. Now, as I said, there are 4 principles propounded by Mary Parker Follett, and what she said was that it should start early. Early means right from the point when the planning was done. Suppose the person who was planning never thought as to what would be the requirements of the different departments. Do you think, and the person never sat back with these people to know what exactly they want? आपको क्या लगता है वो सक्सेसफुल प्लानिंग होगी? नहीं, बिकॉज उन्होंने तो जिन जिन चीज़ों के बारे में उनको सोचना था वो तो सोचा ही नहीं था उन्होंने, तो वो प्लानिंग कहाँ से अच्छी हो सकती है? और जब प्लानिंग ही ठीक नहीं होगी तो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन सही नहीं होगा, और इम्प्लीमेंटेशन सही नहीं होगा तो कंट्रोलिंग क्या ही करेंगे आप? सो अल्टीमेटली इट विल बी ऑल a failure. So it should start right from that particular point, right from the first function of management, and there should be a direct contact. Yes, as I just told you, if the person does not sit with anyone, there should be every functional manager, every functional head should be having a direct contact with each other, so that they exactly know what is going on and what way and what are they supposed to do in that particular context, right? तो ये बहुत important है. And there should be a reciprocal relationship as well. मतलब कि अगर आपको ये पता नहीं है कि मैं आपके लिए या आप जो काम कर रहे हैं उसमें मेरा क्या योगदान है, और आपको ये नहीं पता कि आपका जो काम है उसका असर मेरे काम पे पड़ने वाला है, तो फिर हम सब अपने अपने हिसाब से करेंगे एंड अल्टीमेटली किसी का कोई काम सही तरीके से नहीं होगा. तो ये एक रेसिप्रोकल रिलेशनशिप है जहाँ पे हर इंसान को समझना पड़ेगा कि मेरे काम का असर दूसरों पे, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर दूसरों पे किस तरीके से पड़ रहा है, तो हमें एग्जैक्टली उसके उस ज़रूरत का ख्याल रखते हुए अपने काम को करना चाहिए. So there should be a reciprocal relationship and continuity. Yes, this coordination, ये नहीं है कि it will start, it was done in the planning phase, so now it's over. No, not required. No. Right from the planning till the time of controlling, till the time everything is, suppose there is a product which is produced, so that is sold out, there is a feedback coming in, so it should continue at each step, everywhere. Anywhere, you just cannot lose sight of coordination. Coordination is that very important. Now, what are the other principles which are required for a proper coordination? Is there should be a proper effective communication, because without communicating, how are we to know, or anyone to know, as to what is expected from them, and what do we want from others? So mutual respect, of course, because if you don't respect each other, so no one will ever be ready to cooperate. Cooperation is one of the essential parts of coordination. No, it's not a synonym, but then essential part, yes, of course. Coordination is a wider perspective. There should be a clarity of object. Everything should be very, very clearly stated, and everyone should know exactly whom they are to be connected to in order to do exactly what is expected from them. And then the scalar chain is again a tool of coordination only, where you are connected to your bosses, your subordinates are connected to you, and you exactly know how to disseminate the informations that are required, how to get the feedbacks and how to work on them, things like that. So they are all put together, they are the essential parts of coordination, and that is, this is something which is there but never seen, but the importance can never ever be undermined. So with that, we'll stop it for the day, and we'll definitely be back with other videos with you. Till then, bye bye, and thank you for being there.